why I waited to have kids until I retired from fighting.
He clipped him behind the head. That's it.
So I had a daughter about 2 years ago, and I've got another one in the oven right now coming out anytime. In about a month or two, she'll be here. Now, I'm pretty old. I'm almost 40. I'm 39 years old. I turned 40 in April. That may be old to have kids, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't do it while I was fighting. Okay, I fought for a long time. I fought for like 18 years. In those 18 years, a lot of up and downs, a lot of situations that I had to endure that I would not have been able to subject my kin to. I would not want my daughter to be drug along down the starving artist pathway that I had to trudge down in order to become a UFC fighter, in order to achieve the accolades that I have achieved. I didn't want to put them through it. It's not easy to raise a family in today's society. It's really, really, really difficult. The cost of living is astronomical. People are having less kids just because they can't afford to. Real estate's expensive. It's all crazy. And as a fighter, you gotta be willing to do whatever it takes. It's a really selfish sport. You don't care about anything else than working and doing everything in your power to be champion. Everything in your power might mean you just need to eat rice for the next month. Everything in your power might mean you need to move across the world and sleep on the mats of some gym for a year in order to get to your next goal, be that strategic or technical, right? You need to get better coaching. You need, right? I need to move to Vegas so I can network and meet the right people so that I can get into the show, right? It's a good strategy. But if you live in Europe, it's going to be difficult to do with a child. And then especially if you're in that same situation and you're not with your spouse anymore, now your spouse doesn't want you to move across the country with your child, right? You can't take them. So now you got to either become the fighter that you know you want to be, that you're driven to be, or you become the father that you need to be. You can't necessarily have both. So in those situations, if it was me, I wouldn't be fighting, right? I wouldn't be trying to be the champion of the world. I would be trying to be the champion of my daughter or my son. So if you're gonna have kids, most of the time, it is way better to wait until you are done. Especially as a man, you need to build your castle first. For me, I feel like I needed to build my castle before I even got into a real serious relationship. What do you have to provide to a woman if you don't have anything? If you're sleeping on the mats of a gym and you have a knapsack full of training gear that stinks and supplements and a couple of walking around the street clothes, if you're that dude, how are you gonna get into a relationship with a 27, 28, 32-year-old woman who wants a kid or two, or already has kids, who wants security, who wants stability? You can't provide security and stability as a fighter, right? Unless you already set something up. Like, I actually have a fighter that is in a situation that I'm like, yeah, if you had kids, it actually wouldn't be a big deal. He's got a solid girl. They've got a place, right? He's got a business that he doesn't have to spend all his time at, right? He's got staff, so he does the managerial stuff and his staff run the business, and he's able to train when he needs to train. He doesn't have that financial instability problem, but he set that up. Most fighters don't have that opportunity. If you're spending your time building this business, that's time you're not spending building you as the business. You're not building your martial knowledge. You're not building your body. You're not doing everything it takes to be a fighter, and that's it, right? And which is a lot of times the kind of focus that you need in order to achieve it. You need to focus. And how can you focus if you got this life that you have to bring up? They work at odds to one another a lot of the time. I would say most times, at least from where I'm sitting. And I see a lot of fighters that do have children. I wonder how they do it personally. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should have had kids years ago. Maybe I would have been a better fighter. It's possible, but it doesn't seem logical to me. For all the things that I had to do to go through, I wouldn't have drugged my dog along. I gave my dog away at one point because I didn't want to put him through the situation I was going to have to endure when I moved to Montreal. It would have been inhumane for me to subject this dog to what I had to deal with and when I moved to Montreal as far as poverty and issues, okay? So I would definitely not want to bring my daughter along that journey. Man, I would like die, like boom, I'll shoot myself in the face if I ever had kids and could not provide for them. It's the absolute worst thing, absolute worst. If you want to be a fighter, know what you're getting yourself into. This is a really hard business. It's very unstable. It doesn't, there's not a lot of money in it overall. There's some people make a ton of money. Very, very, very few make the majority of the income out of the sport. Know what you're getting into. And if you do not already have a system built that will sustain your family while you are on your rise to fighting for money that you could actually live off of, which is way up there. Like money that you could actually live off of isn't just making it to the UFC. That's not stable. You're making like 12K a fight and you're fighting twice a year. That's not how you raise a kid. You need to be making a couple $100,000 a year in order to be stable with a child, and then make sure that you can continue doing that for as long as they're with you, right? So a fighting career, not the best idea. Make sure you're solid before you have kids. Thank you. Please heed this advice. Peace.